Spider-Man, a threat or menace? Oh, they're advertising Thor.
Yeah. This was... Well, I mean...
How timely. There's a Thor movie coming out next month.
Well, that's the poster from the first movie.
But Thor, I don't know if you know this, is also in Thor Ragnarok.
This is true. What other posters we got?
Why is Magneto on a poster? He's a bad guy.
I don't know, because there's just a lamp. But you have Iron Man and Captain America arresting Electro and the Shocker for Spider-Man. There's a Heroes for Hire billboard over there.
There's another Magneto. Hey, it's a pizza.
There's a Deadpool poster that just says me.
Oh, clothes. That's my favorite store.
I think that's supposed to be Mary Jane.
Yeah, probably.
There's...
Heroes for Hire. Neat.
Oop.
Which supposedly they're going to do Heroes for Hire in the Marvel shows.
Well, I know there was news that came out not too long ago where it said that Danny Rand was going to show up either for one episode or in the second half of the season for Luke Cage.
And they were going to hint at Heroes for Hire.
Yes, or if not outright start it.
But to do that, doesn't Danny Rand need to lose all of his money? Or otherwise he's just a total jackass who's making money despite the fact that he's a multi-billionaire.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll come up with a reason that makes sense. He could always, like... I don't even
Well,
know.
I mean, they established in Season 1 of Iron Fist that he is just the worst human being.
Well...
And not a very good business person. So he could just show up one day and say, oh yeah, I don't have any money anymore, and no one would find that odd.
Or you could always just give it over to... I mean, I didn't watch the show. There's the like, step... Here, he doesn't have any. Like, the girl that... There's the brother and sister that he was, like, friends with.
Yeah.
They were kind of running the company, right?
Yes, they were.
So, are they on good terms at the end of the season?
He's on good terms with the brother.
Okay.
Because he helped the brother murder the dad.
Okay.
And the girl hates him.
Why?
Because she found out that the dad was alive.
Okay.
And she blames Danny for his death, I think.
Okay. So, hypothetically speaking, he could give the money to Ward?
Ward.
He could turn the company over to Ward. Keep himself, like... what's the word? An advisor. Kind of like Bruce Wayne is in the Dark Knight trilogy, where technically speaking, Morgan Freeman's in charge of Wayne.
Yeah, but they already do that. Like,
But it would be official that way. He can now be like, well, I'm going to make my own money.
Well, because Danny Rand already barely does anything with the company.
Right.
He just uses it whenever he needs, like, I need money to go chase after the hand. Or, I need information. Uh-oh.
Clint, you shouldn't have.
I wasn't totally paying attention to what happened there.
His shirt got caught in the elevator.
Oh, yeah. This game came out before we knew that Hawkeye in the movies was married. So there's a lot of, like, subtle...
Do you get to visit his farmhouse?
No.
Damn.
You get to visit it in Lego Marvel's The Avengers, which I don't know if we'll actually play.
Oh, well, who knows?
That does also have a Doctor Strange and Ant-Man level, so it's tempting.
Oh, Ant-Man, he's my favorite.
But...
I love Ant-Man. See, that's a hero that they did cool stuff with his powers. And, like, they were pretty clear about how they work. And he did cool stuff with it.
Yes. I liked all the Ant-Man effects.
They were great. I can't think of a hero where they've had a more inventive use of the hero's powers. Because a lot of times it's just, oh, now there's just a big punching fest.
I mean, yeah, I want to say Captain America in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but I mean, other than the shield bouncing physics, he doesn't have, like, a power set. He's just very physically fit.
But well, in the movies, it looks like he actually has super strength. Based on that scene from Civil War.
Yes.
But I was mostly just going to talk about how much better the shield physics were in that movie than they had been in the previous two movies he was in.
Yeah, but that's not, like, superpower physics. It's just a bouncing shield. Don't kick Hawkeye.
Who else? What other movies?
Because Doctor Strange powers are basically magic, so you can't really apply them in cool and interesting ways.
And even if you...
But even so, they still did really cool stuff with the time mechanics.
And he can also apply them in literally any way he wants because it's magic, which I think is another reason it shouldn't count.
Yeah.
It looks like Thor Ragnarok might do some cool stuff with his powers.
Thor?
Yeah. Like his lightning powers, not his...
Yeah, I hope so.
Not his super...
His lightning powers never really come up, which is like, he's Thor. That should be like a big part of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I loved in the Avengers when he just flew up to the tower, summoned a bunch of lightning, and just started spawn camping the portal. Because, like, that's amazing. Why doesn't he do that more often?
Or why didn't he just do that from the get-go?
Because they weren't friends yet.
But I also like, well, think about it. Like, those giant space whale worm things are giant computers.
Kind of.
So,
I think they were biological and they were enhanced with cybernetics.
The one cool thing that they do with his powers before the lightning rod thing is when the Hulk slams that piece of metal down into it and he like charges his hammer and hits it. So it's basically like...
Oh yeah, he stabs the beast
and then
he
zap. He basically busts the beast's surge protector.
Yeah, that was cool.
But that was pretty much all the cool stuff, because I don't think he did anything super cool in...
Dark World.
Security breach detected.
I was going to say Age of Ultron, but
You're getting beat up.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I respawned.
Age of Ultron and Dark World. I don't think they did anything that... Well, no, that's not true. In Age of Ultron, he charged up the machine body.
Yeah, that was the one thing I was going to say, but I think that's... Because he doesn't do anything in Dark World, I think.
Yeah, but Dark World was also pretty disposable.
They focused less on his ability to do cool stuff and did more with having him and Malekith fight through like 4 different planes or 4 different realms.
Yeah. What other heroes have there been? Ant-Man
Black Panther's gonna be cool, but
doesn't necessarily have a lot of powers that they can do cool things
about
with.
The coolest thing they're probably going to do is if he communes with the dead.
Yeah.
Which I think, I mean, there's some scenes in the trailer where stuff is super purple, so I don't know if that's just what Wakanda looks like at night or if that's like...
Just really purple.
Yeah. But other than that, who else is there? Most of the other people are punch fests.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because that's one of the advantages like the Avengers had over Batman v Superman, is they have all these neat, colorful powers. I saw Deadpool in the elevator. I caught that one. Like Iron Man has all his cool lasers and his missiles, and he can do neat things with that. They do. That's another thing though. They do a lot of really cool stuff with Iron Man's armor.
Well, the coolest power, quote unquote, that Iron Man had was the Iron Legion in Iron Man 3.
Well, I was thinking the other day about Iron Man 3. It's like they did so much cool stuff. I love the fight scene where the suit that was all the different pieces started flying towards him, and he just got like a piece at a time.
Yeah. And
there was a fight scene of him slowly getting more and more of the suit. And that whole last fight scene where he's just jumping from armor to armor.
That was cool.
Like I remember a lot of people thinking like, oh, it's just big stupid ending. It's just overly complicated. It's like, but that's
not always a bad thing.
Yeah. Like that's also like a really creative way to end the trilogy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're taking what he can do, which is he has these armors, these multiple armors, and what would be a cool scene around having multiple different types of armors? Like, oh, he's just jumping from armor to armor.
And some of those armors looked really cool.
And even at the end, they did the thing where he made the armor go on Killian and then blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so even then, that's a neat little, like, ooh, cool. I guess when Doctor Strange... Everything that they did with the time mechanics in Doctor Strange was really cool.
Yeah.
The whole scene of the backwards destruction of the city.
That was cool.
And at the end, it wasn't a punch fest, it was he outwitted the villain.
Yes.
That's something that needs to happen more often. And that's why I liked in Homecoming when he didn't win the fight at the end. He got his ass kicked. And the only reason he had a victory was because he happened to be there to save the bad guy from his own idiocy.
Yeah.
Like, that's Spider-Man.
He also literally just had to last long enough for the villain to get exhausted or screw up. He didn't actually have to win the fight.
Yeah.
Which is also...
And he lost the fight pretty handily.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. pretty. Yeah. Who else? They
I'm
did.
sorry.
They kind of did. What?
You don't have any visitor passes. Continue.
Oh, They kind of did cool stuff with Groot in the first Guardians.
That's true. He gave a flower to someone. He did a lot of cool growing when he made the big thing that almost got him killed.
Oh no, well, I mean, yeah, I guess almost got him killed is right. Can't really do much with the other four because they're all...
Don't really have powers.
Couldn't really do much with Mantis's powers.
Goblin and the cosmic brick will have to wait.
Yeah.
We need to get out.
Captain Marvel might be cool, but she's also going to be pretty punchy.
Well, but also, I doubt they're going to get much into the specifics of how her abilities work, and it's probably going to be more in the vein of Superman. It's like, oh, if she can fly, she's just going to be able to fly.
Yeah. Unless they do the thing I want, where the movie begins with her. Assuming they go with the operating table route, where she,
Gets a blood transfusion from
Captain Marvel.
Marvel.
Then it would make sense to...
Oh no, it's Venom!
And Spider-Man's here to fight Venom.
Is it just all the Spider-Man villains? Are we in the Spider-Man chapter?
This first section of the game is spidery.
I want to fight a Hawkeye villain.
I don't...
A classic Hawkeye villain.
Tell you what, get your phone... Google Hawkeye's villains, because I couldn't think of it. The closest I can think of is maybe Bullseye, and he doesn't count.
Deadshot.
Wrong,
Doesn't matter.
Wrong franchise.
According to a website...
Is it the Marvel Wiki?
No. Well, this is just... Google just gave me a bunch of stuff. Arcade. Ash Williams.
Wait, as in, like...
From The Evil Dead.
Really?
Atuma. Count Nefaria. Crossbones. Crossfire. Doctor Doom. Egghead.
So these are mostly... Because Crossbones is a Captain America villain. And
Yeah.
I want to say Arcade might be a Fantastic Four villain. Because the only... but also the only time I've ever seen or known anything of him is his boss fight in Ultimate Alliance.
Oh no, they're legitimately saying that one of the villains for Hawkeye is Ash Williams from The Evil Dead.
Okay,
How?
can you look up... change your Google search to Ash Williams and Hawkeye. If you want to put a "why did this happen" on there too, I won't.
I don't
question
know.
it.
Google doesn't do well with really specific questions. Because Evil Dead is its own thing. There would have had to have been a crossover.
Well,
or
that's what I
something.
assume it was. I just want to know when this crossover happened and if it's still considered canon. Because I think I don't know if after New 52 if it's still canon or not. But I've mentioned before that Hawkeye's the only member of the Avengers that's also a member of the Justice League.
Yes.
But just between those two multiverse Earths, it's not like the main continuity.
Ashley James Williams, or Ash, was a retail clerk who became a hero because he encountered a demonic book known as the Necronomicon.
Yes.
Accounts of how Ash first encountered differ, with some saying he traveled to a cabin in the woods with some friends, others suggest that he traveled alone with a girl, others suggest that the cabin was rented to him, others suggest that it was an abandoned cabin,
Looks just like
and he was going there to fuck.
What? Is that actually what it says?
Others suggest that it was merely an abandoned cabin that was found for the purposes of a romantic interlude.
Oh, okay. I think that's what the... I haven't watched the new show, but I think that's the route they go with it.
Ash was forced to kill everyone, was forced to cut off his own hand with a chainsaw,
Yes,
to
he
fight
was.
the Deadites,
Yes, he was.
blah 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 blah. So I think this is just encountering... This is just like the movies.
This is just the backstory of Ash Williams.
I guess? Hold on, what the hell?
It's not explaining how or why Spider-Man, or Hawkeye and Ash Williams have fought each other.
How about next time on this show that we are performing, we learn about how Ash Williams met Hawkeye.
Sure.
Hopefully. We'll
Oh.
see what we can find. We're gonna play detective. I'll get my hat and my trench coat. See you then!
You have entered.